There are few things that come close to the pursuit of stone sheep in their rugged natural habitat. But this practice also generates an immense amount of funding for their conservation. In order to protect their natural habitat, learn more about them as a species, and manage their populations effectively.
Hunting has become a controversial practice in modern times. My name is Dan Cabela, and I'm traveling the globe to explore the true impact that hunting is having on our remaining wild landscapes. This practice goes as far back as human history can remember, but does it have a place in modern conservation?
For generations, the Cabela family has shared a passion for the outdoors, a love of hunting, and a deep respect for wildlife. Growing up with an outdoor company inspired me as a young boy to spend a lot of time in nature. And it was through this exploration, really, that I learned about wildlife conservation. And that has influenced the mission that is so important to me today. Wild sheep of North America are about as iconic as any of the wildlife on the continent. And I'm here in Reno to attend an auction that will be doing a lot of good for wild sheep.
There's never been really a project put together on stone sheep for years. Probably 60 years since Val Geist did them. And he did them in our hunting area in Spatsizi. And with what's gone on with sheep, the extra pressure on sheep, the extra amount of hunters that we now have on sheep, we thought that, it would be worthy to see how sheep are doing. So we donated a hunt to wild sheep to put together a project. And it seems, like there's some places that they kind of are under the gun. And we all want to hunt sheep forever, but I think we need to care for the sheep too.
Yeah. Revenue generated from hunting permits and licenses for stone sheep are directly funding conservation programs aimed at preserving their habitats and populations.
Hey.
Hey, Gray, how are you?
Hey, Dan, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for inviting us out here.
You got it.
All of these outfitters love these sheep so much that they're willing to do these donations for the conservation side of things so they can keep the sheep on the mountain.
They are stewards of that resource. And they're not going to go in there and run and gun and wipe it out. I mean, they want long-term. It is in their best interest, and it's certainly in the best interest for the wild sheep. What's amazing is that 75% of all wild sheep agency funding comes from an auction or raffle tag. And we're pretty proud that 40% of all wild sheep conservation funding comes from this organization, Wild Sheep Foundation.
Wild Sheep Foundation is the leader in raising funds for sheep conservation. And its members are very generous in how they give their money back to the conservation of these wild animals.
This is a 12-day stone sheep hunt in northern British Columbia. 100% proceeds to support the Northwest British Columbia Stone Sheep Initiatives. Thank you, Spatsizi River Outfitters. It is $100,000 winner.
A small number of permits are auctioned off to the highest bidder, and these tags attract some massive bids.
Thank you. And now 10, 210, and now 20, 210, now 20, 220, now 30.
The auction is in full swing, and the bidding for the stone sheep hunt is intense. The funds raised here tonight will feed directly back into keeping stone sheep on the mountains sustainably.
That'll get us going tonight, folks. $320,000.
After witnessing the eventful auction, it's time for me to head into the mountains on my own adventure in pursuit of an old stone sheep ram. Heading to the wilderness is sort of a release to me. It provides an escape from the pressures of modern day life. And I always find myself yearning to get back to that quiet place. How's it going, guys?
Not too bad. Yourself, Woody, out of the way. Nice to meet you. I'm
Dan,
Dawson.
Dawson. Timber.
Yes, sir.
Dan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This is Woody. He's a year-old Jack Russell Terrier that I got for bear hunting on Vancouver Island. And he just likes to be in the middle of everything. He's a going concern, that's for sure. Obviously likes mosquitoes too. Get him, Woody.
We set up camp in the remote wilderness, and we'll begin our search for a mature stone sheep ram in the morning. Leaving the city behind and venturing into the remote wilderness of British Columbia awakens a primal sense of freedom within me, where every step carries the weight of anticipation and every moment resonates with the raw beauty of untouched landscapes. Hunting is the main driver for wild sheep conservation funding. Through auctions such as the ones provided by Wild Sheep Foundation, tons of money is raised. Also, things like the Pittman-Robertson Act, where license fees sold go directly back into sheep conservation. It is through these efforts that our sheep are still with us today. How many stone sheep are actually harvested through hunting?
We took 3 as outfitters in this territory, and the residents took 1 or 2 last year for sure, but I'm not exactly sure how many they took. In the park here, there's only 3 tags for residents anyway.
So it certainly doesn't seem like it's the hunting that's impacting these sheep.
No, I don't think it is either. I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think the wolves have a bigger impact on these sheep than anything else. But there's definitely more money put back in by hunters than there is by the government, that's for sure. We're rebuilding populations, not just hunting them into extinction.
Make no mistake, hunting stone sheep is no easy feat, but it's these challenges that make the pursuit so rewarding.
I think just the size of the country that stone sheep live in is part of what really makes them difficult to find. You know, it takes a fairly good-sized piece of ground to support a number of stone sheeps. Right on the ridge, there's a bunch of black rock, but there's a little pinpoint of rock that comes down off the bottom of it into the green and red, but it's definitely a ram. And he looks like he's got some decent mass on his head too, and there's just one, so, you know, the chances of him being a good ram alone like that are fairly high.
Getting a little bit better sun now.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that he's on his own is promising. At 8 years or older, rams are considered to be mature and possibly past their breeding prime. We came in here looking for a ram that was clearly 8 years or older, and the one that we've been looking at since yesterday appears to not be clearly 8 years older, so there's a chance that we'll move on and keep looking. In this part of the world, weather is a constant challenge.
We had some of the highest winds I've ever seen in the mountains on this hunt. We had plenty of rain. We had terrible visibility for the last few days, and particularly in some of the places that we were really trying to look into. And playing the weather game can be a huge part of the mental game that, you know, is mountain hunting. And it's definitely something we did deal with on this hunt, that's for sure, with some pretty horrendous weather, particularly right in the last few days we were up there.
So we've been up here, I don't know, 2.5 days or so looking at some rams. Dawson has declared that the rams that we've been looking at are not quite legal. So we're gonna start hiking. Hopefully we'll get a break in this weather and we can hunt on the way down, but it's time to start easing our way back to the lake where we're gonna get picked up. That looks pretty iffy.
I don't think I can make that. There's no way. I still don't feel like I have that much experience crossing something like this, so I guess there's only one way. Am I pulling on you too tight?
No, you're fine. I got you. Part of the job is being able to reassure someone and make sure that, you know, they feel safe in the environment that they're in, because people can do almost anything if they're given the right direction and given a little bit of motivation just to get it done sometimes.
Yeah, it's getting shallower. You're good.
That was freaking scary, man.
Now we just got to get out of here. Probably just up there.
If I'm counting right, I believe we see the 8 grizzlies at this point. So there's definitely a pretty healthy population up here.
There are many memorable moments to any sheep hunt. And it's the extreme nature of these hunts that keep pulling me back to the mountains in search of sheep. And there are definitely no guarantees to harvesting a ram. One day I was sunburnt, the next day I'm just soaking wet, so it had kind of all aspects you'd expect. But yeah, tough hunt, rugged, hard, but definitely worth the price of admission. The adventure may not have ended with a successful hunt, but the experience has deepened my appreciation for these incredible animals.
We saw, 3 7-year-old rams on this trip, 2 of which were, legal by horn length, but, just weren't the age we were looking for. And, it doesn't do any good for the propagation of the species if we're, taking underage rams. It's certainly something that happens, but it's, not good for the longevity of the sheep population, that's for sure.
The pilot brought us some lunch here, and I know the sandwich doesn't look like much, but after 12 days of mountain house, it's pretty darn good. There are few pursuits as exhilarating as hunting stone sheep in their rugged natural habitat, whether successful or not. But what many don't realize is that this practice also generates immense funding for their conservation efforts. The work being done by the Wild Sheep Foundation for Stone Sheep is truly remarkable.
We're in Spatsizi Provincial Park. Over the next 8 or 9 days, our objective is to capture 40 stone sheep, 20 rams, 20 ewes. The idea here is to get some data on them.
Stone sheep face various predators, grizzly bears, wolves, golden eagles, and humans, of course. They face a lot of activities and stresses from development pressures, but out here we're trying to maintain the biodiversity on the landscape.
We want to make sure that our activities as consumptive users or non-consumptive users in the sense of hikers and backpackers isn't causing a negative impact that those animals can't overcome. So this project here will specifically look at hunter movements as well as sheep movements. So ewe groups, immature rams and mature rams. Over the course of 3 years, we hope to learn a lot about just how sheep navigate the landscape when people are in it.
Sheep capture initiatives, where samples are taken and animals are collared, provide invaluable data for understanding the health and behavior of these majestic creatures.
Hunters, especially the guide outfitter, noticing sheep were behaving differently. This project's a reality because of the guide outfitter and the Wild Sheep Foundation. We're able to, generate the funding and the interest to be able to support us. So we were able to pull in Tahltan First Nation. We're able to pull in government staff. We're able to pull in University of Alberta. The collaboration here is huge.
Just an exceptional collaboration when you look at the team that was on the mountain from the Tahltan First Nation. We're in their territory here, and their wildlife department, the ministry staff, wildlife vets, biologists, the pilots, just exceptional crew. 16 people brought here to Highland Post as guests of Spatsizi River Outfitters, who hosted and also funded this.
Hunting revenue can support scientific research and monitoring programs to better understand stone sheep populations, their behaviors, and their habitats. This information is crucial for making informed management decisions and implementing effective conservation strategies.
Captured, assessed, collared, sampled 40 sheep in 5 days, and getting all the data, biopsies of the ears, ear tagging, collaring, a nasal swab, throat swabs, a health assessment just on the general condition of the sheep, hair samples, fecal samples, and then measurements, providing us data to really see how these animals utilize their habitat and then react to our presence, whether it's a hunter or a non-hunter, is going to be very, very helpful to the wildlife professionals that are in charge of this fabulous resource that we all enjoy. To me, that was just fascinating to see how efficient and effective this professional team was. And then finally, when it's all said and done, to release that beautiful animal back on the mountain and watch it run off. The first one just brought tears to my eyes.
It's a testament to their commitment to conservation, ensuring that every step we take towards understanding stone sheep is a step towards securing their future in the wild. Overall, the Wild Sheep Foundation plays a crucial role in the conservation of stone sheep and other wild sheep species by supporting research, habitat conservation, population management, education, and advocacy efforts. As these majestic animals are released back into the wild, we're reminded of the success of the conservation model supported by hunters. The future of stone sheep relies on initiatives like these, ensuring they continue to roam the mountains for generations to come.